welcome to another Buckeyed episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I'm a Tiny Habit certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach. I've lost over 100 pounds, and with me today is
Donald Weigel, and I'm a huge fan of the Buckeye'd Peas.
Oh no,
that band, aren't they? A thing?
Oh, Gilligan.
I have lost about 100 pounds. I've kept it off for about 7 years, and I am here to talk about it.
You are. Do you know? Okay, 5 questions.
Yeah.
First part is, do you know what a Buckeye is?
You know what? Now that you mentioned it,
You don't?
I've been hearing about the Ohio State Buckeyes my whole life, and I've never really thought about what a Buckeye actually is.
So you got the Ohio part, so that ties into our episode.
Oh yeah, no, our Michigan listeners will hate that.
We'll be very mad. Oh
Yeah.
well. What are they? The
Wolverines.
The Wolverines. Okay, the Wolverines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wolverines.
The Wolverines.
It's
Ooh, that
it's
actually makes a lot of sense.
Wolverine.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the Ohio State thing is a Buckeye, which is
Yeah.
actually a tree.
The Ohio State thing. That's the technical term of what that is.
No, it's the Buckeye State because the Buckeye trees that once covered much of the state, and they also, ironically, it's a tree nut. But it sort of looks like an eyeball, sort of, but people also make candies out of them, which is very applicable to our podcast.
I don't know why, in my head, I kind of thought of a Buckeye as being like a bean of some kind.
It's like a nut,
but I don't know why.
It's
I thought
it's like a brown nut with a more brown part on it.
Yeah.
So it's but it's a dessert also, which I don't think I've had. But I have other fun facts about the state of Ohio.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay. First of all, it's the birthplace of aviation in America, USA.
Oh.
Orville and Wilbur Wright, two
How about that?
Ihoians. I don't know how you say it. Buckeyeians?
Ohioans?
Ohioans? I don't know. Never mind. If
Okay.
you're from Ohio, let me know. Actually, we're writing because a person from Ohio wrote us, so she'll have to write again and tell us how to pronounce it. Okay, ironically, it says it's the birthplace of Superman, but...
Oh, yeah. It's Jerry Schuster and... why am I... anyway.
It's Jerry Siegel and
Siegel
Joe
and Schmidt. Oh,
Schuster.
my goodness, yeah.
It's fine. But
I'm embarrassed I
thought
blew
you were
that.
going to be like, oh, he wasn't born in Ohio. He was born on Krypton. Everyone knows that. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the birthplace of aviation, but also it is the birthplace of the first ambulance, which I wonder if it was because of the Wright brothers crashing. That was the first necessity. Does somebody have something we could put these two?
These Wright brothers vehicles keep crashing. We need a vehicle that can pick them up and take them over land real fast.
I'm just saying.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, but also it's ironic. Also, the birthplace of the Lifesaver candy.
Is it really?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
which
that's a
it
good
has the
one.
hole in the middle so that if you choke on it, you don't choke because there's a hole in it so you can breathe, which...
It's also the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for some reason.
It is.
Because when you think of rock and roll, you think of Ohio.
But I used to think that in Star Wars, lightsabers were lifesavers.
Yeah, I think every kid kind of did.
Because I thought they saved the lives of Luke and Leia.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Anyway, it's fun fact. But you know what also is one more fun fact about Ohio?
No, I can't wait to hear it, though.
Until this point, we had as many as one listeners from the fine state of Ohio. I don't know if she's still listening, but we have one listener, and that listener is Erin.
Oh, hello, Erin.
Erin took the bold move in writing us an email from all the way from her fine state and had a couple of questions for us.
You know, it's an interesting, I don't know if the listeners care, but, we get download statistics by country, but I don't think that they break them down by state.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So I don't actually know how many Ohioans typically listen.
Well, we have at least one.
At least one, yeah.
Thank you for being your state representative, Erin. So Erin wrote us an email, and we're going to do what we say we do, which is read it and then maybe answer some questions.
Yeah.
So I will start out. So Erin, thank you for reaching out to us from across the miles.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Erin says, "Hey, Catherine and Donald, thanks for reading this letter. You're welcome." Sorry. I don't know. I'm like waving. Okay.
And that's the end of the episode.
Okay. So Erin goes on to say, "I have been diligently logging calories and eating at a deficit for over 9 months, and I'm down 57 pounds. Woohoo!" Erin says that, but we will also say that. So Donald, 1, 2, 3.
Woohoo!
Yay, Erin. Amazing. Amazing.
Little known fact, that's the Ohio State Buckeyes chant.
Woohoo!
Also. No, it's not.
Okay, so Erin goes on to say, "I have a 2-part question. Along the way, I've hit several plateaus where my weight doesn't change for 1 or 2 weeks. My logic brain says, Erin, this is cool." No, Erin, this is cool. You're doing all the right stuff.
Erin, this is cool.
Yeah.
It's all good. You're doing the right stuff, Erin.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of voice inner Erin has. Okay, you are doing all the right stuff. Stick to the plan and the scale will catch up. But my panic brain says, what if I've reached maintenance? Do I need to increase my deficit or ramp up the exercise? This happens, about once a month, go figure. And so far, I always break through the plateau. But what advice do you have for how to work through plateaus, psychologically or physically? So that was question 1.
Yes, and her second question is, on a related note, how will I know when I've lost enough? I have a goal weight that I am about 20 pounds away from, but I am worried that even if I hit that, I will feel like I need to lose more. I'm worried about being stuck in a permanent state of trying to lose weight and not being satisfied with where I am or proud enough of what I've accomplished. How did you know when to shift into maintenance mode?
Those are 2 great questions. So great, in fact.
Yes.
So very great that we have split them into, we've split it into 2 episodes. I actually did go through and just sort of realized that it was too much to fit into a single episode. So we are going to answer her first question in this part, and in the next episode we'll go on to answer question 2. So Erin, how about that? You're like, 2 episodes? That's amazing. I should have asked 5 questions so that I would give them content for 5 episodes.
That's right. It could be.
Come on, Erin, get with it.
It could be Erin month if you just asked us a few more questions.
Okay, so going back to question 1, all that time ago, 1.5 minutes ago. How do I work through my plateaus, psychologically and physically? So honestly, the psychological part is like, I'm just a human person talking now. I'm like sort of not reading, but breaking through that psychological barrier is really challenging. And I know we've talked about it before. We've done other weight, scale related episodes where I maintained or gained weight 20 times in the process of losing 100 pounds. And I remember it was probably actually in February of the first year that I was losing. It was the first time I gained weight when I thought I should have lost weight. And I was like, that's it. It's not fair. Everything's over. Why should I even bother? And in the past, I would have quit.
Yeah.
And this time around, I just thought, what if I just kept going? What if I kept moving forward? Because in the past, when I just revenge stopped, then I would gain weight. What a surprise. So the new question was, what would happen if I actually just kept going?
Yeah. And look, again, I'm probably just paraphrasing what Catherine just said, but, I don't know how many times I joined Weight Watchers, but almost every time I would get on it and do that plan, and I would lose some weight. And then the first week in which I was on the plan and I gained a little weight or I didn't lose, that would usually be a sign for me to give up.
Right.
So the first thing to do is to remember that that you need to be patient and you need to push through. And, all the time, including myself, people are like, I need to get this over with. I need to lose this weight quickly. Like, it's not coming off quickly enough. But it's good news, bad news, depending on how you look at it. There isn't a finish line to this. We've said this over and over again. there is a process by which you need to keep going and going. So the first thing to do is to rethink your plateau duration. So instead of thinking about a plateau as 1 to 2 weeks, maybe consider every 3 to 4 weeks. And this is what I did when I was losing weight.
Yeah.
As long as I was losing a little bit of weight per week, I kept my plan the same. Or, if I went a week or two, which happened a lot during the time, if I went a couple of weeks without anything happening, then I would still continue on. But if I went 3 weeks in a row and no weight came off, then I would change something. And usually for me, that would be reducing my calories a little bit. But this gives you time to adjust because, it is normal for you not to lose weight every week. And in fact, it's probably not, from everything that I read, it's not the healthiest thing in the world to continue to, lose large chunks of weight all the time. So set a standard for how you'll manage your plateaus. If my weight stays the same for more than 3 weeks, then I will change my approach. Until then, keep doing what you're doing.
Right. And so that takes away that instinct to want to switch something up quickly. Like if I'm not seeing the result, okay, well, I'll undereat this week, or I'll, cut my calories, or I'll do something extreme. Having that standard or policy allows for hormonal changes. It allows for water retention and bowel movements and all. You know what? We're grown-ups and adults. I said it. I said hormones. It's all fine. But there are so many reasons to pause weight loss. And I don't even know how many times a week Erin is weighing herself. The more you weigh yourself, the more data points you have. So if you're weighing weekly, there's so many fluctuations. We have done full episodes on managing the scale. So go back and listen to those. But yeah, I think that having that policy of I don't negotiate with myself in 2 weeks, I wait for that 3rd or 4th week, and then I make a shift if I need to, I think is really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what if Erin actually hits a plateau? So when you hit that 3 to 4 week mark of a plateau, don't automatically assume that that means that you have to reduce your calories or increase your exercise. Before you consider either of those options, do an audit of your current plan. And I think that this is really important because a lot of times people in WOLT place, we only look thin place, will say well, I don't know what my calories should be or if I should reduce my calories. And then when we dig a little bit deeper, we find out that maybe they're not being as accurate with their tracking as they thought they were.
Yeah, so being an adult is super fun because you can have things like hormones and audits. I mean, when you're a kid, you can only dream of it. Someday I wish I had an audit. Oh, boy.
Exactly. Okay. So here are some questions to consider before moving to a lower calorie target or increased exercise. So the first question is, do I have a calorie problem or do I have a tracking accuracy problem? So this is actually a fun fact. I'm going to lay it out on you, everyone.
Yeah, this is super fun.
Okay. I did the math, which is super fun. If you undertrack by 100 calories a day for a year, that could lead to a 10-pound weight gain annually.
Isn't that fun?
100 calories. That's like a dollop and a drizzle. That is nothing. If you just I totally forgot to measure that or whatever, then 100 calories can have a 10-pound impact. So just think about that on your weight loss journ-venture over months and months. Again, maybe you don't need to cut your calories. Maybe you just need to pay attention to your accuracy. So again, additional questions are, am I weighing and measuring my food with the same accuracy as before? Am I tracking all of my bites, licks, and tastes? Am I tracking, again, those a dollop of this, a drizzle of that, a, sprinkle, a dash, whatever?
Yeah.
So that's really big because I think also when we've had success, we might get a little loosey goosey with it doesn't matter. It's just a little Parmesan. Oh, it's just a little bit of oil. It's just a little pat of butter. But again, calorie by calorie, that really does add up. So another question to ask is, has anything changed in your food routine? How's your fiber intake? Are you eating veggies? Are you eating, because especially right now it's winter, are you eating more beige, frozen, packaged foods?
Yeah.
I know, looking back at what Erin had said at the beginning, she'd been doing this for 9 months. So seasonal changes can really affect things. Maybe in last May and June, you were eating a lot of fresh food, a lot of, vegetables and drinking a lot of water. But now it's winter and maybe you're eating, again, more processed foods, cozier foods, carbs. So those seasonal changes can really impact weight loss. So what has changed, if anything, from your food choices from, say, summer and spring to now? So in looking at those questions, again, with the accuracy, the quality of the food, etc., if you answered yes to any of those, oh yeah, well, I'm not tracking accurately. Go back for a week or two and track accurately and see if the scale doesn't start moving back down again. You may not need to reduce your calories. Just focus on those auditable.
Now I can't say it. Sometimes like you're fine saying something and then you hear somebody else say it.
Focus on your accuracy. There we go. So that's step one. Don't cut, just work on your accuracy.
So I was trying desperately not to interrupt you, but you mentioned Loosey Goosey, and another fun fact: the X-Men have a villain called Loosey Goosey.
Do they?
No, I'm making that up.
See, what I think is interesting
also
is that,
invented in Ohio.
Okay, so Ohio and Michigan are kind of enemies for some sports-related reason.
Yes.
So it is interesting to me that Ohio is the birthplace of Superman, and that Michiganders, I know what a Michigander's called, enjoy Wolverines.
Yeah,
because that is Marvel versus...
oh my goodness, that is so sexy that you know that you know the difference.
So anyway, just letting you know, go Buckeyes, go Wolverines, it's all good. So anyway, okay, Donald.
Yeah, the rest of the country...
it's just like, what are you
Michigan, Ohio are basically... Yeah, I won't say that. I'll get like lots of angry letters. I was going to say basically the same place.
Oh, Donald.
I just made a lot of people angry. I have some very close Michigan
The views of my co-host are not necessarily those of We Only Look Thin.
It's just a joke, everyone. I don't really think that.
Go on to answer two. Stick to the script.
All right. So, second answer to the plateau question. If you really are at a plateau, it might be time to shake things up. If you figured out that you are tracking accurately, that you're sticking to the same plan and things aren't moving, you might need to pop up the volume. We didn't even rehearse that. We got it right. Add more fiber, add more nutrient-dense meals. I find that I lose weight more effectively if I eat lots of fiber, lots of vegetables, lots of fruit. Like I eat a lot of fruit, generally, because it really fills me up for very low calories, and I enjoy it.
Well, and for me, after tracking for so long, I realized that when I'm eating low density, like very beige foods, even if I'm at a calorie deficit, I might not be losing. But when I start pumping up the volume, adding those veggies back, I find that the scale moves more quickly. So again, that quality can pay attention. We don't talk too much about food quality or content quality on this podcast.
No, we definitely don't monitor content quality on this podcast.
But think about that pumping up the volume thing. So
absolutely. And then another thing to try is to reduce your daily calories. And you could try 50, you could try 100 calories a day. Do that and then see if that moves the needle, or in this case, the scale. So let's, for example, if you're at 1,800 calories a day, go down to 1,700 and try and stick to that reduction for 2, 3, 4 weeks and see how you do before you try and change it again. And that was the thing that I did most often while I was, in the initial process of losing the weight. Another thing to do is change up your exercise routine.
Yeah.
Increase the intensity. If you've been doing the same workout for a while, you might adapt. You might get used to it. If you've been at the same step goal, if you've been doing exactly the same, length of exercise or difficulty of exercise. So try incorporating different activities. Try increasing the amount of time you're doing things. Try increasing your step count if that's what you're doing. Add intervals, add weights. Mix up cardio and strength training. Strength training builds lean muscle, and that can help really boost your metabolism. Cardio is great for overall calorie burn, but find a balance that works for you.
Yeah.
Or try something new. Sometimes just switching up your workout can help your body, can help you shock you into gear. So, maybe you're not a bicyclist and you add bicycling. Maybe, you try going on a short, adding a short run. Maybe you try adding some, yoga or swimming or something, along those lines that you haven't been doing to mix it up.
Right. And I think, too, that looking at that seasonally of, we did an episode recently where if you're doing something that, like in summer, you love swimming, but in winter, it's more snowshoeing or whatever the Buckeyes do.
Yes,
they
I increase my snowshoeing. Yes.
No, but switching it up and looking at things seasonally, challenging yourself a little bit more. It can also keep your brain entertained, which I think is important. And then,
yeah, absolutely.
And then kind of finally on this point, I know Erin said that she had been doing this for 9 months and has lost 57 pounds. Again, that's amazing. But consider taking a planned maintenance break. Maybe you've got a vacation coming up or people coming to visit. Or maybe it's a week where it's very quiet and you don't have anything going on, but it might be a time to actually eat a little bit more. I found times in the first year that I was losing weight that if we went away for the weekend and I ended up eating a lot that weekend and decided not to track, that the next week I would be back on track and then kind of have a whoosh on the scale going down just to kind of switch it up a little bit. I think that can be a really good way to kind of switch it up because at some point in your life, you're going to be eating at maintenance. So practicing maintenance is actually a skill that I think can be scary, but I think it's really important.
And I think we'll talk about it more in the next episode too. But I, in hindsight, wish I had practiced more for maintenance because, I'm not even sure that it's obvious what that means when you're in it, when you're in the I need to lose weight, I need to get to a goal weight phase. I don't know that practicing for maintenance, because I thought I would just sort of slowly increase my daily calorie intake until I figured out where the balance was, but it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, and again, a little bit of a spoiler for next week, we still eat at a deficit quite often.
Yeah.
And then we eat over maintenance often also. So it kind of evens out. So think about taking a week or two to eat a little bit more, maybe practice eating more on the weekends and eat at a deficit during the week. So there's lots of different directions to go. But I think, in the end, I think Erin's question is so applicable. We second guess ourselves. We know on the logical side that it makes sense to take things slowly. It makes sense to see a plan through, but then that impulse to rush through, to make an extreme change, not only do we feel like it is a way to switch things up, but it also almost feels like we're doubling down on our commitment to losing weight.
Right.
Okay,
right.
I'm really serious about this. So I'm going to try, to work as hard as possible. And really, it feels a lot better. I'm coaching someone right now who is losing about a pound or two a week. Maybe some weeks it's 1 pound, maybe it's up a pound. But over the course of the last year, she's lost over 50 pounds. Must be nice. Oh my gosh, slow and steady wins the race. And she's approaching it in a very calm and practiced way and not looking for that quick fix. And
because I think the danger is that you try and go too extreme too fast, or try and make too big of a change too fast. And you've been doing this thing that's been working really well for you. And then the temptation might be, well, I need to drop, 500 calories a day, or I need to, add, really intense, running, something that you don't really enjoy, or something that's going to make you miserable. And then it makes it harder and harder to keep going.
Yeah, when you push yourself too hard, it's definitely it's a shock to the system, but not in a good way. So for Erin, easy does it. I don't know. Hang in there. What other
always imagine
hackneyed phrase here?
A kitten hanging from a tree branch when I hear "hang in there."
Yeah. So Erin, thank you so much for writing in. Like you said, Next week we'll talk more about thinking about maintenance and how to manage that. But a golf clap or a Buckeye clap to you for slow and steady winning the race. We're so grateful that you reached out to us, and we hope to hear more about your journ-venture as you continue it in Ohio.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
The Ohio journ-ventures. And thank you so much for listening, everyone out there. We appreciate you, whether you're in Ohio or elsewhere.
Let's just name other places.
I'll name all 50 states and every country in which people are downloading this. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, the most recent 300 are available on all of the major podcast platforms, wherever you found this episode. Or you can also go back all the way to the very first episode of the show and start there. You can do that on YouTube or at any time on our website at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about WOLT Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our weekly coaching and Facebook page group thing. I haven't, I've swapped the order and I haven't really figured it out yet, but we are a supportive community based on Facebook, but we also have weekly Zoom meetings with coaching and more deep dives into matters like this. So we have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if WOLT Place is right for you. We have daily check-ins. Again, we've got Zoom meetings, lots of ways to stay accountable and feel connected to other people on their weight loss journ-ventures. So check us out.
Yeah, check it out. And really the most important thing is you get direct access to Catherine Weibel. You can ask her questions all the time, and she will answer them right there for you. So please go check it out.
Yep.
Also, you can check us out on social media. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at We Only Look Thin. Or if you are like Erin from Ohio, you can also send us an email. If you have questions, if you have episode ideas, if there's something we haven't talked about in a while that you'd like us to revisit, if you have some ideas on how to deal with plateaus, we would like to hear from you. And you can do all of those things by emailing us at weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep, and if you have a couple of extra minutes, please head over to Apple Podcast and leave us a rating and a review. Not only does it let us know that what we're doing after 7+ years is still making a difference, but it also helps other listeners find our show when they're looking for journ-venture-y inspiration podcast like ours.
That's right.
I didn't even know a journ-venture was a word.
It is now. Yeah. And, the more ratings and reviews that we have, the more it helps the algorithms out there, direct our show to other people. So it really does help us out if you do that. And another thing that really helps us out is if you just tell somebody about the show. If you know somebody who you think might, get something out of this and you let them know, or if it comes up in a conversation, or if you are in an internet group, a Facebook group, a Discord server, a subreddit, and it makes sense to give us a shout out. That really does help the show grow.
Yeah.
So if you have spent the last 20 minutes on eBay trying to buy the first appearance of Loosey Goosey in an X-Men comic, instead, please remember that Catherine and I are...
And Erin.
An inspiration. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.